Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you my current drugstore favorites. There's a lot of products that I have right now that have either like replaced high-end products or just drugstore products that I've been wearing like every single day that have been my go-to, whether they're older or newer. Yeah, I just wanted to share those with you guys today. So if you're interested in hearing about my current drugstore favorites, then just keep on watching. I'm going to start off with a couple of primers, and both of these primers are pretty similar, just like the texture, the feel, and the kind of effect they give on your skin. So the first one is from CoverGirl. This is really new. It came out in like the last 2 months. It's called the Skin Smoothing Primer. They've actually released, I think, like 4 primers. I know I have all of them, but I think this is the only one that I tried because this is the one that I really wanted to try. I'm wearing it today. I keep reaching for it. I always wear either a hydrating primer or a smoothing primer, and this has been one of my favorite smoothing primers. This has like, what is it? Hourglass Mineral Veil. That's what it reminds me of, and that's like a $60 primer. So it has that skin blurring effect without that silicone feel, and I really don't like that. I feel like that's just like clogging my pores every time I put on like a silicone-based primer. So this is what it looks like. It's just like a cream primer, but you can see it's more of a thick formula, so it is gonna fill in your pores, but it feels super lightweight. So I've been really into this primer. I like to wear it on its own, or I could wear it like on the center of my face if I want to use a hydrating primer too. But sometimes if I'm wearing like a really hydrating foundation, I like to go in with a more smoothing primer. So this one I've been liking a lot. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned it on my channel before. I might have mentioned it in my CoverGirl foundation review, and that is in this video too. But this has been one of my favorites this month, and I've had it for a couple months now, and it's just like a go-to whenever I want more of a smoothing primer. And then my other favorite right now is from e.l.f., and this is the Poreless Face Primer. This is really similar, but I like to use this more on the center of my face or like on my nose, anywhere that I have bigger pores or fine lines. So this e.l.f. primer has a very similar formula and texture to it, but I just feel like it does a little bit of a better job at filling in my pores. So I like to use it more precisely in my T-zone and just mostly on my forehead and my nose. It just blends out like super easily too. It's a very similar formula, but I feel like it just does a better job at blending pores or hiding pores. And then foundation, I've been loving the CoverGirl Tree Blend Matte Made Foundation. I have a review of this. I have a swatch video of all 40 shades of this foundation. I wasn't sure if it was 40 or 50. I'm pretty sure it's 40. I have swatches of all of them in that video. I'm in the shade M10. This is a really awesome match for me. It's really easy to blend out. I do like to use this with a brush first and then a beauty blender. That gives me like the best coverage. It is more of a full coverage foundation, but it's very lightweight and it actually dries. And sometimes drugstore foundations, like they just don't sit right on my skin. I've tried out a lot and I kind of like gave up on them for a bit. But this one I've been really into, and I really think like it's a really great foundation for most people who don't want to feel like they're wearing heavy foundation, but they want their makeup to last all day. Like you put on your makeup at like 6 a.m. and then you take it off at 10 p.m. and it's still gonna look good. And it's also matte, but it's not drying at all. And I'm really picky about how matte I like my foundations, and that one is definitely great to me. I love to feel like my skin looks like skin, of course, and almost a little bit more dewy than matte, but even though that one is really matte, it still looks like skin and really natural on my face. And then this is like the complete opposite kind of product. I mentioned this in my last favorites video, but I love this. And this is the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. I use the shade Light, and it's basically like a liquid highlighter slash primer kind of product. And right now I'm actually using like the luxury version of this, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Fusion, which I'm obsessed with. I'm going to talk about it in my next favorites video. But it's such like a dupe for that product. If you guys have been wanting to try out that product from Charlotte Tilbury, which is like probably like 65 bucks. This one's still a little bit pricier. It's like $15, $16. You can get it at Ulta, Target, whatever. It's a little bit more pricey for drugstore, but it's definitely a really similar product, and I really like the finish of it. Definitely does make a difference, and I love to use this whenever I'm doing like a very light like BB cream a really, really light foundation. So this is what it looks like. It basically just looks like a liquid highlighter. And then once you start to blend it out, it actually does blend out very easily, and it doesn't end up being like super intense like a highlighter. So you can apply this to your whole face. I like to apply it actually like on my shoulders and stuff before I go places, if I'm going somewhere special, like once every other month. But I really, really like it, especially on really light makeup days, because it just gives you like a very luminous look. It's like really subtle and natural. It doesn't look glittery, or like, it has a little bit of a shimmer, but almost like you were born that way kind of shimmer. Like it doesn't look like a lot of sparkle on your face, but it still gives you a little bit of a glow and like a really healthy skin look. So I really, really like that. And then I have been loving both of these forever, but I'm just going to talk about them because I still do love them. And these are two concealers. I had them in my everyday makeup drawer for like months. I actually still have them in there. This is the L'Oreal Pro Glow Infallible Concealer, and then this is the Maybelline Fit Me, which I've gotten like 20 tubes of in my lifetime. But both of these just look really, really natural on my skin. I've clearly had them for a while. I'm almost out of both of them, and I just really, really like them. I don't think that they're like really full coverage, so if I'm doing more, actually I wear them no matter what. But if you're into really full coverage concealer, these are not, they're more of like a medium coverage. But even if I wear like a color corrector underneath and apply one of these, then it gives me like more of a full coverage look. I do feel like the formula of both of these sit well with any foundation. So these are both of my favorites from the drugstore, Holy Grail products. I still love my high-end concealers that I wear all the time, especially the Too Faced one right now, the Sculpting Concealer. Wear that like every single day. But before I got that one and my Laura Mercier, those are like my two Holy Grail all-time favorite concealers that I've ever tried in my life. Other than those, these would be next, is basically my point, and these are like half the price. And then, love this powder. It's the best. Clearly, I love it. I always mention it, and I've used it so much. I wear the shade 1120. This is the mattifying foundation powder from Burt's Bees. I've been using this specific powder every single day for a couple months now to set my eyeshadow primer, to add a little extra coverage under my eyes, and I use it on the center of my face. I use this every single day. I love this powder. I can't live without it. Definitely will be repurchasing this very soon. I love it because it gives you a little bit of coverage, but also just the formula is really nice. It's like a very creamy skin-like formula. So I could touch up my makeup throughout the day and go in with this powder, and it's not gonna look powdery, and just gives me like enough coverage. For a powder foundation, definitely recommend this one. This has been my go-to for months now. I'm gonna repurchase it very soon. Also from Burt's Bees, I've been mentioning this all the time, but I'm so obsessed with it. I mentioned it actually in a favorites like 6 months ago maybe, and I think I even like it a lot more now than I did then, and that's the blush from Burt's Bees in Toasted Cinnamon. This is a gorgeous like bronzery blush shade. It's super pretty, it's very warm, and it just has like a really nice orangey look. It's so, like, the formula is so creamy, it's very pigmented, and just has like a very, very nice natural finish. So it is definitely more of like that burnt orange kind of color. So you can definitely get away with colors like that can kind of blend into your skin and look a little bit more natural, especially if you do have like more of an olive or warmer complexion. And if you're not into that shade, they do have a couple other shades too, because the formula is definitely a winner. And it's not just the color, like the formula too, but Toasted Cinnamon is one of my all-time favorite blushes right now. And then also the Baked Blush in Hummingbird Hype from Wet n Wild. Love this so much, and I love layering these together. That's like the most satisfying part of my makeup for like the past 2 months. I just love this combination. It makes me so happy. It feels like a hug every time I apply both of these together. Like, it just, I love it. I love it so much. This is a baked blush, and at first I was using it as a highlighter, and it actually is a really pretty highlighter, especially if you have more of like a tan or deeper complexion. This is a gorgeous highlighter. And then I love this as a blush topper. I just love this color. Like, it's definitely a gorgeous highlighter shade, but on top of my blush, it just like transforms the blush and makes it look more like skin. And also, this is not like glittery or shimmery, or it is shimmery, but it doesn't have like glitter or flecks to it. So when you rub it out, it just turns into this like luminous, gorgeous color and texture. It's just, everything about it makes me so happy. clear. I'm really passionate about this like $3 blush, and especially layered with this blush, this is like the best thing that I could put on my cheeks. So love those two individually and together. My favorites for summer for sure. So first of all, we have a highlighter I mention all the time on my channel from Maybelline, the Mastergum highlighter in Molten Gold. Love this color specifically right now for summer. Like this as a blush plus this plus some other things I'm about to mention. Like that is my go-to face right now. But really love this formula. I've been saying for like 6 months now that I need to pick up more shades. I definitely still do, but every time that I like go back to this in my collection, I'm like, how do people not wear this all the time, including myself? Because this is definitely an amazing formula. Like this is such a pigmented highlighter. Let me just show you like the quickest swatch. Like you get such pigmentation. It's like that Ofra highlighter pigmentation, but a lot more finely milled, because sometimes that one looks a little bit like chunkier or can emphasize texture. This one is just like so finely pressed and pigmented and creamy and everything that you want in a highlighter. So if you're on the hunt for a new highlighter that is affordable, definitely check that one out. And I do need to pick up some more shades for sure. And then another thing that I really like is from L'Oreal, and they have 2 shades, or at least I have 2 shades from them. And these are the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Shimmerista. So these are like loose highlighters, and I never really got into loose highlighters. I just felt like it was an extra minute in doing my makeup where I had to like pour it out and make sure it wasn't getting all messy. But especially this one, this pink shade, which is called Sunlight. I really like this one when I'm doing like more bold, colorful looks, because it has like a really pretty like pink tone to it. And it definitely pulls the pink and not like a silver or icy pink, but it still looks really natural and glowy on the skin. Like this would definitely look really pretty with my makeup today, because it just goes really nice with like different pastel tones and colorful looks. And then the purple one I haven't actually worn as much because I don't really wear purple highlighters, but just letting you guys know they have different shades. But I really enjoy this highlighter, especially when I'm doing looks like this. I'm not wearing it today, but when I'm doing looks like this where it's like a little bit more colorful and playful, it just makes any like pastel or colorful makeup look very complete, especially like pink toned, purple tones, like soft blues and teals. That's a really pretty highlighter because it just ties everything together and adds an extra step or an extra like effect to that makeup look. And next I have an eyeshadow palette, and this is the Rose Gold Sunset palette from e.l.f. Now I have a lot of e.l.f. eyeshadow palettes. I have decluttered quite a few e.l.f. eyeshadow palettes. I really liked the Mad for Matte 2 palette. I think I actually ended up decluttering that. I'm not sure because I have so many other matte palettes now. And they come out with a lot of palettes just like this, but I find that the formula of this one is so much better than a lot of their palettes that I've tried before. Like they've been pretty hit or miss, but this one, like the colors in here and the formula and the pigmentation, it all works really nicely together. So here are like some of the shades. They swatch, well, the matte didn't swatch as nice, but the shimmers especially do swatch really nicely, but they all like do apply really easily. Like you don't have to like spend a lot of time blending your shadows. I do have an Instagram tutorial with this palette, and I just really like that the shimmers are especially pigmented, because sometimes with the e.l.f. palettes, I do find that the mattes are a little bit easier to blend out and work with, but the shimmers, like I really need to like use a ton of Fix Plus and just really build them up a lot to get that color payoff and pigmentation. But with these, like it's very easy to use. I think I like this formula a bit more than like my $5 Wet n Wild palettes right now, because the shimmers are also like very smooth and not like a chunky or glittery formula. So if you're into colors like this, like a very standard warm palette, but you also get some like olives in there and some greens and some purple, so it's actually a bit more exciting than just like a neutral palette. I really do like the tones in here. I think you get a lot of different looks, and it's gonna be a really pretty palette for fall time look. Like it has those like earthy colors and purples in there. I was actually really impressed with this palette when I got it. I was just playing around with it, and sometimes it's like hit or miss, but this one I was actually really surprised with the pigmentation. And I feel like for drugstore eyeshadows, sometimes foundations, but really eyeshadows, especially eyeshadow palettes, because I have eyeshadow singles that I love from the drugstore, but eyeshadow palettes really hard for me to really be impressed with from the drugstore. But this one has definitely been the best one that I've tried in a long time. Like, definitely check that one out from e.l.f. And then I've also been mentioning this all the time, but I'm just like really passionate about this product, and it's the Brow Stylist Boost and Set from L'Oreal. It's a brow gel, but it's the best brow gel I've ever tried in my life. This wand is so tiny, but it's also intricate. So like, it actually gets, do you see like those little brow hairs pop up? Like, it combs through each of your brow hairs so nicely. And then it also has little fibers, just like the Benefit Gimme Brow. So it does thicken up your brows a little bit. And I just feel like any mistake I make with my brows, this just like running it through my brows cleans it up, and it always makes my brows look more natural after I apply whatever kind of brow product I'm using, like a pencil or whatever. Anything that I use, and then I top it off with this, it just adds like a little bit more of a natural effect. It just makes my brows look a little bit more polished in a natural way, which I really appreciate, and it actually keeps your brows in place all day. Super obsessed with this brow gel. Highly recommend it. I got mine at Ulta, and I think they have like 3 or 4 shades. Lastly, I have 2 lip products that I've mentioned quite a bit this summer, and I've been wearing all the time. One of them I'm wearing today, and the other one is the Healthy Lip from Physicians Formula. This is an awesome like liquid lipstick formula, and it's more of like kind of a liquid lipstick, matte lipstick hybrid. If you're not like super into liquid lipsticks, this is a very thin, very comfortable, very forgiving formula, really easy to apply, really long wearing. This shade Tulip Treatment is the one that you guys see me wear all the time. Anytime I'm wearing like a bold lip color like this is the color. This is the one I wear all the time. It's just like a gorgeous corally orange shade. Really love that color, really love this formula. And then this is the applicator, so it's really easy to apply, really precise, really long wearing, matte, but also very lightweight and comfortable. It doesn't feel drying on your lips at all. So highly recommend that. Probably the best liquid lipstick I've tried from the drugstore. And then lastly, I've always loved the e.l.f. plumping glosses, but this one specifically came out a couple months ago in the shade Champagne Glam, and this is what I'm wearing on the center of my lips. Actually, it's kind of like all over my lips right now, which I think is so pretty. Has a little bit of a shimmer to it. And this is definitely a plumping gloss where like you can feel it tingling on your lips. So if you don't like that feeling, you might not like this one, but to me, it's not like super extreme. I've tried plumping glosses where like I start crying because they tingle so much. Like I felt like I just ate like a whole bowl of jalapenos or something. But this one is definitely like not as intense, and the color is more of a nude, and it has like a gold reflect to it. So it's super subtle on my hand right now, but I really like this shade if you want a little bit of a shimmery gloss that doesn't have like super sparkle in it, but it still gives you a little bit of a gold reflect. All right guys, so those are all of my current drugstore favorites. Definitely let me know your current drugstore favorites or just your drugstore favorites in general in the comments down below. All of the products will be listed in my description box if you guys want to check them out. And that is everything for today's video. If you guys liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.